a wet thriller with a stunning comeback. That's how we would describe Max Verstappen's emphatic victory at the Brazilian GP. The Dutchman really went on to drop one of the best performances ever in the history of Formula One by winning from P17 on the grid. What was even more special for Verstappen was the fact that he ended his winless drought of 11 races by securing the sensational victory. And he now holds a 62-point lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship charts against Lando Norris. Sorry, Norris fans, but you might be more disappointed to know that Verstappen is now the record holder for leading a championship for the most consecutive days. Such was the difficulty faced by Verstappen at the Brazilian GP, that even he was shocked by his unbelievable victory. The Interlagos circuit has undergone resurfacing, which has made the track more bumpy for drivers, and overtaking was more difficult this year with just one optimal racing line. Well, it all started before the event had even got underway, after Lance Stroll spun off during the formation lap, leading to some confusion over the aborted start procedure, as pole sitter Lando Norris led a number of cars away while others stayed on the grid, resulting in Norris, George Russell, Yuki Tsunoda, and Liam Lawson facing investigation after the race for a start procedure infringement. And right when the Grand Prix actually commenced, Russell got the advantage of a stronger launch and led from Norris while Verstappen worked his way up in the early stages. As the race unfolded amid changing levels of rainfall, a red flag was thrown on lap 32 following a crash for Franco Colapinto in the Williams, which happened a while after Russell and Norris had lost out by pitting. So what exactly did this mean? It resulted in Esteban Ocon leading from Verstappen and Pierre Gasly when the race resumed with a little over half the distance remaining. But after another restart, right after a safety car appearance due to a crash for Carlos Sainz, Verstappen stepped into the lead and from there looked phenomenal. The Dutchman went on to take the checkered flag with a margin of 19.477 seconds. Now that's what you call a champion. Norris, on the other hand, well, he must be fuming. And why wouldn't he? He was visibly struggling to hold on to the top 5 and once again lost a race starting on pole, easily losing the lead to Russell at the start despite having the better car. Another interesting fact is that he has started 7 races on pole, but has just won 2 out of them, making costly mistakes, having to be dependent on team orders and not showing much improvement in the wet conditions. And all that was on full display at the Brazilian GP. Both Verstappen and Norris have been in close contest for the 2024 F1 World Championship, and it's no secret that the former Dutch driver has faced stiff competition from Norris, who had been closing the gap in recent races. Now, with 3 races to go, Verstappen almost has one hand on the Drivers' Championship trophy. And Norris showed just how salty he is about losing to Verstappen by throwing jibes at him with an arrogant comment saying he drove well and got lucky. Well, what do you make of that? And hold on, that's not it. Lando Norris even made it crystal clear that he did not find Max Verstappen deserving of the race victory at the Brazilian GP and insisted that George Russell actually deserved the win. Let's just take a look at what he had to say, shall we? Start's a bit of a gamble. Sometimes it goes one way and sometimes the other. With the red flag, it was free stops, and George deserved to win the race. Looks like someone is way too salty and disappointed. Now these are the types of comments that shouldn't come from a champion. And the 24-year-old is really kind of proving why he might not be champion material. Downplaying Max's struggles and success during a week where the younger driver dominated is not looking good for Norris's character. Surely he should realize that. Not to forget the lack of accountability from the McLaren driver. It's clear that he is not entirely ready to accept the mistakes that cost him the race. Max, on the other hand, is not shying away from taking calculated risks and is reaping the benefits of that kind of mentality and attitude. Something Lando isn't doing and would need to work on. This might just be immature behavior at its best from Norris. The McLaren driver does not seem confident enough and is resorting to arrogant remarks aimed at his arch-rival. But will that fetch him the title? Most certainly not. However, the driver was not all arrogant, as he did take the blame for making some mistakes in Sao Paulo. It's quite obvious that the 24-year-old driver could have managed to battle the 2 Alpines of Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly for a podium spot. But he ran wide and lost several positions while fighting George Russell and Charles Leclerc for top 5 positions. It seems like Norris will now be feeling the pressure as he trails Max Verstappen by 62 points. With only 3 races remaining, the need of the hour for Norris is to focus more on himself and the team. And from the next race, he needs to give everything he has, taking all the risks to win the championship.